Hello everybody, and welcome to Trek Mission Log. Whether this is your first time with us or your 19th time, this is our 19th video, I welcome you and I am very glad that you are here. My name is Jason Gilbert. We are doing our own trek through every Star Trek adventure ever filmed. And right now, we are in season 1 of the original series. I want to thank all of you who have subscribed. I am very, very grateful, and I want to thank all of you for watching. If you haven't subscribed as yet and you enjoy this content, would you please go ahead and hit that subscribe button? It would mean so much to me, and it would really help me and this channel out a lot. Also, you can check us out on Instagram at Trek Mission Log. We can interact with each other there. Now today, we're going to be looking at season 1 of the original series, episode 19, titled Arena. This episode aired on January 19th, 1967. The teleplay is written by Gene L. Kuhn, based on a story by Frederick Brown. It was directed by Joseph Pevney and produced by Gene L. Kuhn. Now, before we look at this story, check out this very, very interesting piece of Trek trivia. The Enterprise is in orbit around Cestus 3. A landing party is making preparations to beam down to meet Commodore Travers. Travers contacts Kirk and asks him to bring their tactical people, as he has an interesting problem for them to look at. Spock questions why the tactical team needs to beam down. Kirk tries to assuage his concerns. The landing party beams down and they see ruins. Kirk calls up to the ship and puts them on red alert. Cestus 3 has been completely destroyed. We then fade into the title sequence. Now, on the planet, the landing party begin investigating, and they find a survivor who is in shock and is suffering from radiation poisoning and internal injuries. Spock detects another life reading on his tricorder that is not human. Kirk sends a security officer to investigate, and he gets pulverized. Kirk calls up to the ship and orders a beam up, and Sulu responds that the Enterprise is under attack by an unidentified vessel. Because their screens and shields are up, beam up is impossible. Something is attacking the landing party. Under heavy fire, the landing party seeks shelter. Kirk orders them to flank out and fire at the coordinates that Spock gave them. From memory, Spock gives Kirk the layout of the outpost and specifically where the weapons are. Kirk leaves to find the weapons. He calls up to the ship and orders Sulu to arm photon torpedoes and to fire all banks at the attacking ship. Now, it's interesting to see Kirk commanding the situation on the ground as well as looking after the needs of his ship. Suddenly, communications are being interfered with. Kirk resumes the search for the weapons. He then is able to get a hold of Sulu again and orders Sulu to do anything to protect the ship, even if that means leaving orbit. And a few moments later, Sulu tells Kirk that he is warping out of orbit. Spock reads that the enemy are moving and that he needs to get to the captain, and so he too goes out. And when he rejoins the captain, they rig up a grenade launcher. One of the officers joins them and reports to Kirk that another officer is dead. Kirk fires the grenade, and it was extremely powerful, and it was successful in stopping the attack. Sulu calls Kirk and reports that the alien ship has fled and has activated their transporters. Kirk orders a lock on the alien vessel and orders a landing party of 30 men to beam down to Cestus 3 to look for more survivors, while he and the landing party beam up. The Enterprise then begin their pursuit of the alien vessel. It is heading toward an unexplored part of the galaxy. In sickbay, the survivor is giving a report. He said that the aliens attacked unexpectedly and killed everyone, including the women and the children. Now, this doesn't make sense to Kirk because he was in communication with Cestus 3 just moments before they beamed down. The survivor said no messages were sent. Back in Kirk's quarters, he and Spock discuss how this was all an elaborate trap by the enemy vessel to send down their tactical team and waste resources. Kirk comes to a rash decision that the aliens were engaged in an invasion of the Federation. Spock tries to tell him to not jump to that conclusion, but Kirk would not hear it. Kirk's plan is to stop the alien from reaching their home base. Reluctantly, Spock goes along with his captain's orders. Kirk orders red alert and orders the Enterprise to overtake the alien vessel. Now, on the bridge, Kirk asks Spock about alien life in this part of the galaxy, and Spock says there's nothing concrete, only space legends. In their pursuit, the alien vessel increased their speed to warp 6. Kirk orders the ship to warp 7. Spock goes up to his captain and indicates that it will be difficult to maintain warp 7. And he also said that they don't really necessarily have to destroy the alien ship. Kirk refuses to listen and quietly reprimands Spock. The alien ship goes to warp 7, so Kirk orders the ship to go to warp 8. And it's at that point where the tension on the bridge becomes very, very thick. Sulu reports they are closing in on the alien ship. They're in the vicinity of an uncharted solar system. The alien ship is moving away from it. The Enterprise is being scanned from a planet within this solar system. The alien vessel then comes to a complete stop, and Kirk orders an immediate attack. Suddenly, the Enterprise is hit, and they are now at a standstill. Whatever happened to the alien vessel has now happened to them. Spock said that something from that solar system is holding them in place. Then the bridge lights begin flashing, and a strange phenomenon takes place on the screen. It looks like the cover of a Pink Floyd album. And a voice comes on the speakers identifying themselves as the Metromes. They said they identified the Enterprise as one of 2 crafts that have entered their space illegally and on a mission of violence. And they indicated this is not permissible. The Metromes have now decided to control how this conflict will be resolved. Kirk will be taken to an asteroid nearby, capable of supporting life, and the captain of the Gorn vessel they are chasing will be brought to this asteroid as well. So we now have an identification of this alien vessel. The 2 captains will work out their issues on the asteroid, and it will be recorded so as to dissuade others from coming into their solar system. And by working out their issues, they mean a fight to the death. The winner will be allowed to return to their ship and be on their way. The loser's ship will be destroyed. Immediately, Kirk is taken, vanishes from the bridge, and is brought to the asteroid where he sees the Gorn captain. And this is our very, very first look at the Gorn. A humanoid creature resembling a reptile. The Gorn captain grabbed a limb from a tree and advances on Kirk. The Gorn are very, very powerful, and he takes a very slow swing at Kirk Kirk ducks and hits him from behind. The Gorn then takes another swing at Kirk, and he ducks, and this time he combats with a Shatner chop. Now, I would have thought that this would have totally destroyed the Gorn, but no. The Gorn captain throws Kirk. Kirk then picks up a large rock and throws it at him, and no effect on the Gorn captain. The Gorn grabs a boulder and throws it at Kirk, and Kirk gets out of the way, narrowly. Now, on the Enterprise, Spock and Scotty are trying to find a way out of this. On the asteroid, in a voice recorder that has been provided to both captains, Kirk said he needs to find a weapon. He said that he tried things that would have killed any normal human being. I assume that he is referring to his Shatner chop. Very, very powerful and deadly. He said that without a weapon, he doesn't stand a chance. Back on the ship, McCoy begins an argument with Spock and accuses him of being inactive and doing nothing. Spock indicates to McCoy that they are powerless to do anything, and McCoy feels helpless. On the asteroid, Kirk keeps looking for something that he can use as a weapon. The Gorn has rigged up some vine around a large boulder, presumably to throw at Kirk. Kirk finds diamonds and other minerals, but nothing useful for him to use as a weapon. Kirk decides to go to high ground, and it is there where he sees a large boulder. He decides to use it to drop on top of the Gorn, and Kirk makes the attempt, and it works. But as he comes closer to the Gorn, he discovers that he did not kill him, but that he's just merely injured. The vine the Gorn was using was not to throw a boulder at Kirk. It was actually a booby trap to get rocks to fall on Kirk and trap him, and it worked. Kirk was trapped. Now, before the Gorn captain attacks, he stupidly removes the rocks off of Kirk, and then as he's swinging his arms down in attack, Kirk moves out of the way. On the Enterprise, Spock tries to communicate with the Metromes, but no success. On the asteroid, Kirk finds some sulfur. He seems to remember that sulfur was useful for something, but can't remember what. On the ship, the Metromes begin speaking again. They tell the Enterprise that Kirk is losing the battle and that they should make memorial preparations. Out of compassion, the battle between Kirk and the Gorn captain is put on the screen, and now they can watch. Kirk stumbles on some potassium nitrate, and he thinks for a moment, and the light bulb goes on in Kirk's mind. Now, through the communicator, the Gorn captain contacts Kirk. It seems that he has learned English. The Gorn said that the outpost on Cestus 3 was actually in their space. McCoy, hearing this, asked if this could be true. Spock nodded and said, "It is indeed possible." McCoy then said, if that's the case, the Gorn were simply trying to protect themselves. Now, Kirk finds a large reed and is putting something together. Spock says that what he is doing is good. Kirk takes the reed and some vine and goes back to the potassium nitrate. He packs the reed with it. Spock says he now needs to find some sulfur. Kirk packs the reed with diamonds and coal. He then goes back to where he found the sulfur and packs sulfur in the reed. And Kirk rigs up his weapon. He crushes the coal. He mixes it with other substances. He's making gunpowder. He then rips a piece of material off of his pants. He uses his voice recorder and a stone to make sparks to light the material on fire, and he is very successful. The Gorn approaches Kirk. Kirk turns the weapon to face Gorn, puts the lit up piece of material into the reed, and it explodes, and the Gorn is down. Kirk goes to stab him, but then refuses to kill him, realizing that the Gorn may simply have been protecting their space with their attack on Cestus 3. Kirk yells up at the sky that the Metromes will have to get their entertainment somewhere else. The Gorn then disappears, and suddenly this being appears, a metronome. And he said that Kirk surprised them by sparing the life of the Gorn. He said that Kirk displayed the advanced trait of mercy. He offered to destroy the Gorn for them, and Kirk said no. He wants to talk to them and try to reach a diplomatic agreement with them. The metronome said that maybe in 1,000 years, humans will be ready to make an agreement with them. And at that, Kirk reappears on the bridge. He orders everybody back to their posts so they can leave. When Sulu looked at the instruments, they had been moved 500 parsecs from where they were. And Kirk orders them to warp back to Cestus 3. When Spock inquires about what has happened, Kirk said, "We are a most promising species." The ship then sails safely back to Cestus 3. That is the story of Arena. A very interesting episode. A good episode, although I don't feel it is one of their best ones. There were some great elements and also a couple of not so great elements. Let me start with the good stuff first. This is a very, very fast-paced episode. It was action-packed. The tension starts almost immediately. It quickly moves from one scene to the next. The story flows very nicely through the scenes from start to finish. There really wasn't any dull moments. We got to witness how a group of people worked their way through a very, very tough situation. Now, the story itself was very good. It was the pursuit of a mysterious and dangerous alien species who seemingly attack a helpless outpost. And we see the dangers of making thoughtless, rash decisions. We see that Spock tried to be the voice of reason, but Kirk, acting out of pure emotion, immediately believes that the Gorn were a violent race bent on destroying anything in their path. And he felt that the Gorn were invading. And when Spock asked him to think it out, he would not. It reflects a very human trait, how we jump to conclusions without knowing all the facts. Makes me wonder how many conflicts in our history could have been avoided if cooler heads had prevailed. We see this in modern politics all of the time. There's no discussion anymore, no dialogue anymore, only finger pointing and division. And this episode is a good reminder that we need to think through things before we act. Thankfully, Kirk understood this only after hearing from the Gorn. Also, I felt that the accidental foray into an unknown solar system was very good. There was a very powerful race of people there called the Metromes. They saw two ships coming through that they were trying to kill each other, and so they intervened. The whole premise is very, very good here. Good science fiction. We got to see a new alien species that we haven't seen before called the Gorn. Now, admittedly, by today's standards, the Gorn looks cheesy. However, in 1960s television, nothing like Star Trek had ever been seen before. And so when people watched this large reptile, they were very, very intrigued. The Gorn have now worked their way into Star Trek legend. They even appear in a nightmare sequence of Sheldon on a show called The Big Bang Theory. The Gorn are a very, very cool alien species on Star Trek, and I love it. And one other thing that I loved, we finally got to see a Shatner chop, and we haven't seen one of those in quite a long while. Now, there were a couple of things that I found negative about this episode. First and foremost, the fight sequences between Kirk and the Gorn were terrible. The Gorn's punches were incredibly slow. Now, I'm a big dude, and even I could have avoided those. And then when Kirk was pinned down under the rocks and the Gorn moves the rocks before he attacks, I mean, really? I just felt that the titular fight in the Metronome Arena could have been much better. The only other thing I will mention is that While the bridge crew were watching the conflict on the screen, I did not enjoy Spock's commentary on Kirk's actions. For instance, when Kirk finds the potassium nitrate, he gets an idea in his head. And while Spock is watching, we hear him saying, "Yes, yes." And then later, as Kirk is packing the reed with minerals, Spock goes, "Good, good." Now, I love Spock, okay? He is my absolute favorite Star Trek character, but I found that scene to be incredibly annoying. That being said, Arena was a very good episode. It is very engaging. It makes you want to watch to see what happens. And so, for that reason, I give Arena 4 out of 5 Starfleet insignias for awesomeness. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Trek Mission Log, and I sincerely hope that you enjoyed it. Now, I would love to read your comments, so please feel free to drop a comment below. If you disagree with me on my analysis of this episode, that's fantastic. All I ask is that we remain respectful of each other and we keep comments profanity free. And I hope that you take the time to watch this episode. It is really, really good. And if you enjoyed this today, please hit that subscribe button below. It would mean a lot to me. And next week, we're going to be looking at a great episode titled Tomorrow is Yesterday. And I hope that you will join me. Until we meet again, live long and prosper.